How do you handle that stress?
As a leader, you need to look at many aspects of the business. It is not just what you want.
In a flip of a second, we can make a trade, we can make the money, right?
Why is that important for us? That is important because in the long run, stability will have a major impact.
Next project would always be much better than what you have delivered so far.
The demand has gone up drastically.
The destiny has something else for us which is much better than what we had planned for.
Well, that happens a lot of times. It does happen that you are overthinking on something, and when you really write it down, you're like, well, it's not a major concern. I don't even want to discuss it. It's not a major concern. Well, first of all, you should be having the intention to do something like this, because initially it feels that it will take time, but
If you are a leader and if your business doesn't run, you not being there, there is a gap.
it is a teamwork. You need to look at things, how the team wants to work, how you need to make sure that a person is suitable for a certain role or not, and if they are suitable, to make sure that they're able to move ahead in that role.
You said you're not able to connect, but you understand how well connected I am and how many people are around me. Do I know this developer? Do I go with this developer? What would happen? Okay, hi Abhishek. Very warm welcome to the podcast with Wisdom Exchange Circle. How are you today?
All good. Thank you, Pankaj, for having me here.
Wow, man. I always say we don't laugh and we have to smile a lot today. I've been told, if you don't smile, people will close your podcast. Abhishek, I would like to start this recording today with knowing more about you. We know each other from quite many years, but I don't really know you. You are a very young CEO. What is the story behind?
Okay. So this goes back in 2008. That is when I came to Dubai as an engineering student. I did my undergrad here in BITS Pilani in electronic and communication. After that, I graduated in 2012 and I started working in the family business, which was in the derivatives trading. We were managing our own prop desk. So we were trading on multiple exchanges in London, Chicago, and Dubai. So I believe that is when my interaction started with you at that time.
Yes.
That gave me good experience in the finance market. Well, I was groomed at that time in the way that as a leader, you need to look at many aspects of the business. It is not just what you want. It is a teamwork. You need to look at things, how the team wants to work, how you need to make sure that a person is suitable for a certain role or not. And if they are suitable, to make sure that they're able to move ahead in that role. I went through a similar situation wherein I was groomed in that direction. I had no background being an engineer. Working in finance was a completely new thing for me. So I did the learning from our team as well, from the ground level, understand the basics of finance, which has been very helpful to me, and understanding the human psychology for working together. So that has been a very important parameter as well.
That's a pretty interesting subject, human psychology, to lead people and work with people. That's one of the very important element which a lot of
100%.
CEOs miss today, right? So, definitely picking up the right team, it works. And as I hear from you, from engineering to the derivative side, the finance market, and from there now heading the Grovy as a development company, like real estate development company. How is that transition?
Well, I always felt derivatives is a very closed room business wherein you would interact with your team, and the maximum interaction that we had was with
With the screen.
with this. I mean, that was probably the maximum amount of time we would spend sitting on a screen, looking at the numbers, punching numbers on the computer.
Yeah.
But the most exciting part was when we started development. So we started interacting with people at large.
Yeah.
So people outside our office, meeting multiple people from multiple backgrounds, because again, real estate development has a lot of moving parts. So you need to make sure everything is aligned over there. I mean, it goes from your consultant, contractors, to subcontractors, to regulatory agencies, to legal, and all these parameters. So obviously there was a lot of interaction.
If I stick to your personal side, and I want to know, being into the real estate development business, what change came in your own personality?
Well, that's a very deep question, I would say.
I always ask deep questions, man.
But see, what I have felt over the past couple of years. So we have been in development in Dubai since 2015. So from our first project or since 2015 till now, what I have felt is there is a lot more patience. There's a lot more stability in terms of thinking. I've realized that money or wealth cannot be generated overnight, and that has not been only a real estate experience. That's been my experience from the financial side as well.
That's absolutely contrary. You know what I feel? I have been into financial market for years, and the traders, when we sit on the screen and when see the money flipping through the numbers, we always believe, yeah, in a flip of a second we can make a trade, we can make the money, right? Over in here in the real estate business, you see that entire projects taking shape in years, and then you will make money. You know that's what you say. This brings a lot of patience.
It needs a lot of patience.
Yeah.
You need to be patient because a lot of developers or a lot of people in this particular market, especially in UAE, because it's a very fast moving market, a lot of people think that, if you have received payment for a certain project, that is your money.
Yeah.
That is not the case.
Is money not earned? It's
It is
just
not
received.
money. It is actually, if you look at your balance sheet, you will look at that as a liability.
Yeah.
That is a advance. You can only call it your money when the project is completed and handed over.
It's delivered.
So it is delivered when when you have completed your commitment. That is when that money is yours. But because of this gap, there is a lot of complications which have come up in the market. But again, coming back to the question in hand, I feel yes, the major points that I feel with me is the stability and patience.
As a matter of fact, a lot of discipline is required for that. When you have a pile of money on your books, and it's not yours, though it is in your control, but it is not yours.
Yes.
You shall not say it's your money
Yes.
because you haven't earned it yet. You
True.
have just received it. Right? That brings a lot of change in people. I often play golf with you, and I see a lot of strategizing into golf. I always say it is not about a reactive game.
Yes.
It's more about you plan, you envision where your shot will go, and you play. And definitely you play better than me. This morning also you beat me, right?
These
How,
days,
how do you enjoy beating me in the golf?
it's not a team sport.
It's not a team sport.
It's an individual sport. So my criteria for golf is time.
Yeah.
My primary focus when I'm playing golf is I need to finish a certain number of holes by a certain amount of time. If it goes beyond, I feel, well, why is it going beyond?
When you said that, what I hear, I need to finish certain floors in the certain time period to deliver the project.
So we do have strict timelines on site as well, and we try and adhere to that.
I remember this morning when you said, Pankaj, it's already 8.
Yeah.
I think I was playing slow.
Today we had a crowd.
Yeah, we had a crowd.
Yeah,
so that happens in the development also, right? When you
does.
have people ahead of you and you are dependent on them completing few things. How do you handle that stress?
Well, at times you are helpless. Similar example, we could not really go ahead and say, guys, move ahead. They were not slowing us down. We were not slowing them. We were all in our pace. Many times, similar situation happens on site. A certain subcontractor is not able to follow their commitment. Now, in practicality, we have the right to remove them. But the time and cost of removing and bringing a new contractor or subcontractor would not justify the delays on the project. So, we are in a dilemma. What should we do? Should we remove them? Should we keep them? So we sit with those people, we explain to them the situation, and it's a matter of persuasion. Everything is possible. No matter what the delay, everything is possible.
I have been with you from long time, and you understand we have people who are like big time into real estate agencies, and they deal with very, very big projects, big developers like Amar, Nakil. And then it comes to the project sizes which Grovy does. I would want you to put a little more light on what is Grovy Real Estate is. What kind of projects have you completed so far, and what is your latest project?
So, as I mentioned, we have been in Dubai since 2015, but our experience doesn't start from 2015. So we come with a background of more than 5 decades into development and real estate contracting business from back in Delhi, which is in India. With that experience, obviously that has helped us a lot in terms of moving ahead or taking a very strategic plan for Grovy real estate in Dubai. So in 2018, we handed over our first residential community in Dubai in JVC, which was under the name Alcove.
Okay.
Then in 2021, we handed over our second building, which is Arya. Now in 24, in the next 3 months, October, we are planning to hand over our third project, which is Aura. And we have some projects in the
If
pipeline.
I say Alcove,
Alcove,
Arya,
Aura.
and now Aura.
Yeah.
So all by the name A.
Coincidentally, that has never been the intention.
Okay. That doesn't resonate with Abhishek then Aura and then all this.
No, there is no relation between
No relation.
No relation. It is just coincidental, and I do hear that a lot. The intent for us, I mean, there is a lot of planning that goes, so we look at the names as well. So I'll come to the name parameter later, but first I'll explain to you about the projects. So you will notice that there has been a significant gap between project 1, 2, and 3. Alcove was 18. Then 21 was Arya, and then now we're looking at 24 and Aura. So we have had that strategy intentionally. We were always in the mindset that we need to complete a project, understand how it is being maintained, understand the gaps, and then rectify those gaps in the next project and move ahead from there. So we build a model basically that this is what we want to do project on project basis. Why is that important for us? That is important because in the long run, stability will have a major impact. How is stability coming to an organization is when they have a solid background, when they have a solid understanding of the business.
What I hear is like it's a very nice lesson for any leader, any CEO of a company, that if you bring the learnings from one project and improve upon while doing the next project and improve upon while doing the next project, your next project would always be much better than what you have delivered so far.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
That's a pretty nice learning. But in this fast-paced world, how easy is it to hold your temptation to do 2-3 projects together and keep selling the projects? I see these days, I hear this project is launched and this project is sold.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that goes in the background behind that. But the most important point that I feel over in this scenario is now, as in today, we are in a position where we can say, okay, fine, now we can launch and deliver multiple projects simultaneously. Because if you would have asked me a couple of years back, I would have still be a little shaky. No, I'm not confident on my model yet, because there are issues. There are always issues, and it's not going to be that we will always or we will ever deliver perfect project, because that there's nothing called perfection.
That is something that brings me a question. Like, even though you have 50 years of inherited experience, you still feel that when you come to a new land and you start doing the projects, that inherited experience from a foreign land does not give you the 100% confidence of delivering the project to the best of the abilities. Rather, you would want to go slow, learn, and as I hear in last 18 and then 21 and then 24, now you're saying that you are ready to deliver multiple projects. So let me ask you this: which is your latest project, and what is the stage it is now?
So we have recently publicly announced our project Sia by Grovy, which will be in Dera Island and Dubai Island.
And that's not by the A.
That's not by A.
Yeah.
So yeah, our team was also thinking why. So basically, coming up with the name is a team effort as well. We try to keep it small, just because we are a multinational community and everyone does not understand long names.
Yeah, right.
So that is the intent of keeping small names. Coincidentally, it has been with A. So now we are transitioning from A to S, and we have something else in the pipeline as well. So yeah, this is a residential community which we have publicly announced in Dubai Island, and it is a G+10 floor, a G+10 building, which is having more than 25 amenities in the building, and it has luxurious apartments. So by luxury, I mean it is good sizes apartment.
Okay.
So we are looking at a 1-bedroom starting at 850 square feet, going up to 1,050 square feet.
That's a pretty good size. If I say, I generally see the new developments of the
600.
projects are like very, very small.
Very small.
I'm not able to connect to those projects which are very small. And I hear you said Dubai Island.
Dubai Island, yes.
And where exactly is the Dubai Island?
So if you look at Gold Souk, or if you look at Dera, so the whole area after the Mankhool Bridge, that area comes under Dera.
Okay, yeah.
And after Dera, you have Sharjah. So right next to Dera, there is Gold Souk, which is part of Dera essentially. And this community, Dera Island, was essentially supposed to be part of Palm Dera.
Okay.
So now Palm Dera is not being built. So the area which was Palmdera, the whatever area has been built as Palmdera has been classified as Dubai Island.
Dubai Island. So, okay. So they started building the Palmdera,
Yeah.
and whatever area was ready, they are now calling it Dubai Island.
Yes.
That's a pretty good information for me. And you said G plus 10. That means ground plus 10
10
floors.
floors, yes.
So it's like going to be 11 floors total in that building.
Including ground, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And there are more than 25 amenities, so it ranges. So our focus has been always to bring in a community which is family oriented. So we look at in terms of community enhancement, that has been our intent as well. So when we say family oriented, we talk about reducing the number of studios.
Okay.
Because
yeah.
that has
I
been
understand.
a major mindset of private developers specifically to build. So if you have 200 apartments, you will see maybe 80, 90 are studios.
Because they're trying to sell it fast rather than making
Yes.
that what you are saying as a family oriented.
Why is that important? Because in a family oriented building, a much more stable crowd comes in.
That's
You get better returns on investment. It has always been an assumption in the market that studios bring better yields. In actuality, studios are more expensive.
Oh, wow, that's a new information for the
Yes.
audience who are listening to this. That is studios, which has a myth that they bring more yield, is not as good a deal as a family apartment is. With that, what other information? Like I am a layman. When I look at a studio apartment or 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, yes, it starts with how much money I want to put in, and also starts with the mindset of, oh, do I want to flip it, or I want to keep it, right? So generally, I would try to see what would move fast, and I would say studio will move fast, and a 3 bedroom will not move fast, even if I have the capacity to flip for 3 bedroom. And second thought, which is as a audience, as a layman, I would think about is whether I go with a bigger developer or a mid-sized developer. Like, what is your suggestion to me as a friend I should look into?
See, if you look at the large developments, which is government developments like Emaar or Wasal or any of these government Nakheel, and you look at larger developments from private developers like Soba, Azizi and all these developers, larger developments are safer because the chances of them failing is lowered because already a large investment is available for that. There might be delays which you have to brace for yourself. The cost will be higher if you're going for larger developments. The deliverability of the product will be later. And whenever we are talking about larger projects, we are talking about master communities. So master communities are mostly delivered in phases. So your appreciation would not ideally come quickly. I mean, if you're looking at a private building which is in a developed community, obviously your returns would be much more different compared to a larger development because of the time gap.
Yes.
Which is a justified time gap. I mean, if you look at the numbers, in terms of longer timelines, the larger projects will give you similar returns than what a mid-sized development is giving, because it is not a master community.
But if you want to flip it quickly, then you have to look at it differently.
So if you want to flip a project or an apartment quickly, you need to look at mid-sized developments because the turnover is much faster in that.
That's pretty fair because when this is a question which I always have. I have no clue. I've been into investment market, financial market, but real estate is something I'm always scared of. And there is always a mindset, do I know this developer? Do I go with this developer? What would happen? So for the benefit of the audience and the investors, is the money which they give, is it somehow protected, as in kept? Like in my financial market, you understand, the client money was segregated. I could not use one client money for another client or one project money for another project, if I say it. So is that something is applicable in Dubai also?
100%. So over the last, I would say 10-15 years, there has been a significant transition in the regulatory authorities in Dubai, specifically in Dubai. I'm not going to talk about the other Emirates.
Yeah.
They have brought in policies which protect all the stakeholders. So I'm not only talking about the buyer, I'm not talking about the developer, I'm talking about the contractor, which is a major stakeholder.
Okay.
I'm talking about the consultant, I'm talking about all the agencies which are on board of that project. So the regulatory authority, which is Dubai Land Department, they have a segment called RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Agency. So they have taken into purview all these parameters, and they have maintained the escrow account concept, wherein the funds for the project, first the project needs to be registered in escrow account. It gets a unique ID, it gets a unique bank account detail. Funds for that project is to be deposited in the escrow account, which secures the interest of all the stakeholders.
Okay, so let me say it this way. I'll make it very super simple for people. That if there is a project being launched by the name of SIA, there is a bank account which is under RERA in the name of SIA, let's say.
Yes.
Any payment from that can only go to complete the project SIA and not to complete any other project.
Yes.
Right? That way, whatever money is collected is secured.
Yes.
Right? So because I remember in old days what would happen, a developer will collect money for one project and buy the land for the another project, and then expecting more money to come and the project is delayed. But that's been taken care by the RERA. So as an investor, I can be secured, I can be safe, and I feel like I can invest in any development size. And from our podcast, I'll also pick up some of the points. If I need to flip faster, I should look for a mid-sized developer.
Yes. So
Right?
it would make more sense to go for a mid-sized developer.
If I'm looking to hold the project, I can even go for a large project like Amar or Nakhil, because main points, because they will come in phases, the transition will come in phases. They may take a little longer than the committed delivery time, though everyone tries to deliver on time, but it may take.
There are a lot of moving
Technically, I
parts
should
here.
be ready with that. Let's bring the most interesting question always comes. Where do you think Dubai real estate is heading to for at least next 24 months?
That's a tricky question, because Dubai real estate market is working on a lot of factors which are new for real estate in general. Because again, Dubai is an expat population based driven market. It is pegged to dollar. These are the two major factors. Now, what happens is real estate is essentially a interest rate derivative product. It is essentially, in essence, real estate is a financial product. Now, what happens is whenever there is a fluctuation in interest rate, which a lot of us are hearing now because of the FOMC meetings and all these things, that has a direct implication on the real estate market. Because of that, the inflation gets affected, and real estate has a direct correlation with the inflation market. In UAE, these inflation numbers are available. It's not very clear, the data is not very public on those parameters, but yes, ideally real estate should be affected by inflation parameters.
Yeah.
Now, in the recent years, what has happened is because of a large influx of people coming from different regions, because of geopolitical issues, because of financial issues in their countries, the demand has gone up drastically, which has increased the prices to a very large
to
capacity.
simplify it for the common man, can I say it this way? I think we were talking this morning also. The rationals behind the property market, behind the investment, behind the return are too difficult to assess at the moment, because there are a lot of sensations. US elections is on the head. Where is Fed going to go? What percentage interest will increase or not? But the sentiment and demand, the market is driven by such sentiment and demand in UAE, which so far is very high.
Which is high. And in the next 24 months, I don't see any downside happening
So
in this market.
for a layman like me, if I need to buy a property to flip in, I should jump in now. I have got clear 24 months for now, which I can see. And if I am able to flip well, and we wish that it continues the same way, and Dubai property keep giving a lot of money to their investors. You are also part with me into my wisdom exchange circle, where there are like other leaders. What is that holding you into that? You are there nearly like 10 months now. What is that
It's been 10
holding
months.
you into WEC?
Okay, I didn't realize it's been 10 months.
It is.
So the best part about Wisdom Exchange that I feel is that, all of us are like-minded. I don't have much interaction. I'm not a very social person in general. Whatever one or two friends from my college are there, that's pretty much it. And it's very difficult to make connects with people. Especially if you're leading a company, it's very difficult to meet people like-minded and to share your thoughts. So I feel that has been a very helping or rather good support system, Wisdom Exchange, wherein you are able to communicate your thoughts, your failures, your success, personal, private, corporate, everything. Taking into consideration all these points. So obviously you're able to let go of things and understand that there are more people who are having similar issues. Not only more people, everyone has similar issues,
Yeah.
and you learn to move ahead of those issues.
That's a pretty good saying, that you learn to move ahead. I would want to ask you one more experience of yours. When you prepare on those worksheets to be in that wisdom exchange meeting once a month, and you look at the 4 aspects of your life, 4 different phases, and then find the sentiments into that, what does that exercise brings you as an experience?
Well, so there are a lot of books available. I think I've mentioned this point a couple of times as well. So you can read any of the books. Robert Greene is there. I mean, that's one of the person I remember. Then Dr. Joe is one of them. In most of these books, you will find a worksheet.
Yeah.
So what happens when I'm reading these books? I read the worksheet, I read the questions, and I say, "Oh, very nice, move on," and I continue reading the book.
Yeah.
So the actual effect or the transition that should happen, or the learning part of it gets missed out. So here, when I see other people doing the same thing, I'm also able to put in my time and effort to do these worksheets.
True.
And what happens with these worksheets is you end up learning more about yourself. So it's a self-discovery.
Believe me, that's a word I had been looking for. When we sit down with that pause, there's a lot of self-discovery. For me, personally, whenever I fill those sheets, a lot of times I feel like, oh, I'm in a much better position than what I thought.
Yes.
I've been stressful for this, but there's no feeling I can put in here. There's no true thing. Am I overthinking on my situation? And that itself pulls me out of the sinkhole I am in at times. And rest when I put it on the table. So my experience is very, very different, and I would want you to share your experience on that. Whenever I put things on the table, by the time I put it on the table, I already have my resolution.
Well, that happens a lot of times. It does happen that you are overthinking on something, and when you really write it down, you're like, well, it's not a major concern. I don't even want to discuss it. It's not a major concern. So it irons out, minor issues in life which don't need attention.
Which otherwise doesn't happen.
Which doesn't happen, and you don't need to pay attention to those things. But since you're constantly thinking about those things in a very one-minded way, in a very narrow way, so you don't end up thinking, okay, fine, how is it affecting you? How is it affecting your body? How is it affecting your sensation? What are the feelings behind it?
That's a very important thing. And I would want to ask you one thing. Is there any learning which you received from the Wisdom Exchange room and you put it into the business, and you are already seeing the results and you have the positive feelings about that?
So what I feel is that Wisdom Exchange is not it's not primarily for seeing how the working happens around you. Main intent is to improve yourself. So what I feel is that there is improvement within me. So there are certain parameters about me which have changed, which have evolved. A lot of that comes with patience as well. I really feel that patience is a parameter which has evolved with me over time, with Wisdom Exchange, and over the course of time with the business aspect as well. So I feel because of that, I'm able to work better. I'm able to rely on the team better. I'm able to see the team is able to perform without my intervention as well.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful indeed. For me, there had been a lot of instances. There's a lot of learnings. So the guru who we met this morning on the golf, he had attended one of the sessions.
Okay.
And where that session was like we all shared long stories about our life. And the realization was that we keep planning for everything in our life, in our kids' life, in the life of everybody around us. But none of us are there, are results of the planning. The destiny has something else for us which is much better than what we had planned for.
So the idea being that you should be ready to evolve. Wherever or whatever direction you're moving, you should be ready to change your decisions and not regret about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Indeed, you know, I always say this, and for Wisdom Exchange, I've been a director for BNI, and you understand I've got 300 people I can communicate with. You said you're not able to connect, but you understand how well connected I am and how many people are around me. Yet, what I can share in the Wisdom Exchange room and what experiences I receive in the Wisdom Exchange room, I cannot compare it with anywhere else. Is a similar situation. You said you have some friends, but are you able to discuss the things which you can share in WEC with your friends?
No, it's that those certain parameters or certain discussions are not something that you're able to have openly with.
And with this, so now you understand that the current circle is like completely full. We are 9 people already there, and I'm planning for another one. So if there is something you would want to say to people who are listening to it, who should be exploring the opportunity to be in something like this as a group?
Well, first of all, you should be having the intention to do something like this, because initially it feels that it will take time, but if you're leading an organization, you should be having time. You should be having free time so that you're able to work on business development and self-improvement.
I loved the comment of the friend this morning who said, "Hey Abhishek, if you don't leave golf at 8, will your building won't make it?" Right? So he had a very straight comment.
Yes.
That if you are a leader and if your business doesn't run, you not being there, there is a gap.
And which is a valid point. And if that is the case, then any organization cannot survive.
Right.
Yeah.
True. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for coming over here and giving us a lot of insights for the common man who wants to invest into property. And definitely we want to wish you all the luck for Grovy's growth and your new projects. And definitely there is a lot to learn together, which we will continue doing.
Thank you, Pankaj.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.